So going into our last topic here, Scipio Township. It's just a comical one because yeah, it's a comical one because it's not really comical, I guess, but it's sad actually.
It's intriguing.
Well, in my opinion, it's quite sad.
Yeah.
I never knew what a transfer station was. I didn't understand what a transfer. I mean, I've seen the words and I didn't know what it was. Obviously,
I thought that's where you got from one train to another.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Transfer stations are trash dumps essentially from the community. Like you guys have one in Hillsdale City here that's ran. I think that's ran privately.
I believe it is a private
Republic
entity.
Waste,
yeah,
or Public Services, or
Republic Services. Yeah, it's a private company.
All right. Well, in Scipio Township, their transfer station, the way they set it up is, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this, but I believe it's 50-50 is the way they set it up. So 50% of the people pay for it, and then 50% of the people are the transfer station paid by the use of the people.
Careful, you stated that wrong. It's not paid for by 50% of the people.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
50% of its budget comes from
right.
all of the people.
Yeah, the taxpayers.
And then the other 50% comes from the people who are dumping.
Yeah, the people that use it. Use the service. Yeah. So if you have hunting land.
The way you said it, I know what you meant.
I went the wrong way with it. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have hunting property over in Scipio Township and you never used the dump site ever, you're still paying for the dump site.
You're paying for part of it, yeah.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Well, that's a democracy.
Yeah, I know that. This
steal from 49%.
Yeah. So, okay, I already don't like the transfer station.
So it ain't so, Joe.
This got brought up at their town hall meeting. I went to their town hall meeting a couple months ago, and their township supervisor, Spencer, which I've talked about him already on the show, he admitted openly on camera that he dumps there illegally. is really simply what it is. What it is he has a large farming outfit out in Scipio Township, and he dumps there in lieu of plowing the driveway in the transfer station, and in lieu of using his equipment, like smashing the trash down into the bins or cleaning up with using his equipment around. Now, he went on camera and said that he does this in lieu of paying for the services that he does dump there. Now, he's been on that board for, I want to say 25, 26 years, something in that realm, to over 20-something years. So how long has, first off, how long has the transfer station been there, and how long has he been dumping there? Because they have no policy or procedure and no contract for him dumping there at all. So he's just doing it on the side, going there with his own services and cleaning it up and cleaning up the snow, but he's also been using his own, dumping his own trash into there for free. Now, that's one thing, but another thing is John Brandstander. He's the guy that's second in command there, I guess you could say, or leadership. I think he's a trustee, but he's like definitely second in leadership. If I'm not mistaken, I've been told that he's
Spencer's brother-in-law, isn't he?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think that's his brother-in-law. Now, he got caught recently dumping trash there for free as well. So, wait a minute here. So you got two board members dumping, and I don't think John plows the driveway there. So
I mean, he pushes the trash down in the bin either.
Yeah, well, I don't think you should be dumping there for free if you do any of that anyways, unless you have a policy and procedure and you do that the right way.
Well, here's the thing,
it's a conflict of interest anyway, so it would never be the right way.
I'm glad you brought up policy and procedure. If a written policy and procedure is one thing, but if we've been doing something a certain way for a long time, that becomes in and of itself a policy and a procedure, even though it's not written. And so they did have something in place that they've been doing all this time, and that is when people bring their trash in, they put their name in a ledger and they pay. So they did have a policy and procedure that John Brandstander and Spencer were violating. So it might not have been a written policy,
right? But
it was the standard operating procedure.
They have punch cards, so they get a card. They pay $10 or whatever it is. I think it's $10, and they get so many punches on the card. It ends up being like $1 a bag, which is quite cheap. They should be charging double, triple that if they want to run an efficient transfer station. But
well, and who wouldn't? I mean, I have to pay. I have to pay what it costs me to dump.
Right, exactly. So, but regardless, so guess who has the cards though? The punch cards.
The same people who are dumping for free.
Yeah, John Brandstander.
Yeah, isn't that odd?
Oh, weird, huh? So these guys are already dumping for free. Where does if you have an imagination, where does that take you?
Well, here's the other problem.
Who's he giving the cards out to? Who else is dumping on that board?
And that's the problem. There is no document registry that I have seen of how those cards are kept, because there's no registration number on those cards. There should be a serial number on those cards. That's right, to each one. Yeah, and those should be documented in such a way.
And when they use the card up, they just throw them in the trash bin and stuff like that.
No, there needs to be,
there's nothing, no accountability.
Yeah, there's no control on any of that. And I think that's by design, if you think about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's by design.
That's why use your imagination here,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yep.
how far can you go with this? And
Yeah.
it's not just transfer stations. I mean, there might be other services out there that we're not thinking of or we don't see yet that this type of stuff happens.
Sure, it's not an issue because we don't know about it.
Now, I put an ad on Hillsdale Hot Debates asking about other transfer stations, where they're at. I heard there's one in Jefferson. I heard there's one in Ransom. And I heard there's another one that could be privately down in Camden, if I'm not mistaken. So I got to go check out these other places. The reason why I got to go check out these other places, though, is because in Scipio Township, they got a little shack for a woman to work out of there. Now, ironically, it was the woman that's the clerk at the Village North Adams. Her name's Kathy. And I don't know Kathy's last name, but Kathy, when I went up there and interviewed her when she was at work, and, you know, doing what I've been doing over in the Adams Township, she knows who I am. So
she was a bit apprehensive.
Yeah, she was very respectful, but she was
Very apprehensive.
Yeah, at first. Well, I guess during the whole time.
And who could blame her? She's
she thinks I'm a troublemaker,
yeah,
right? Her
yeah,
boss is
that's what everybody says about
her
us.
boss is telling me that I'm a troublemaker,
Yeah.
right? So I'm up there interviewing her. Now, I'm trying to be slick about my interview because I'm trying to play the good guy with her, but I also want her to tell me that these people are dumping illegally.
Oh, you want the truth.
I want the truth, right? And she wants to tell me the truth.
She does.
She wants to because I think in her heart
She's a moral person.
But she was being reserved a little bit. But in the end, she does admit that those two were dumping, Spencer and John Branstner.
And their name isn't on the registry anywhere.
That's right. So she admits it. Now after I air this show, Kathy's going to be in a tough position. She might be in a position of getting fired. I want our
What
audience.
if she is in a position of being fired? She has a very, very good lawsuit.
I want our audience to know that we have to protect people that are going to be honest.
But here's what I'm saying: if she's fired after this podcast, she has a very good case.
I'm super concerned for her
Well,
position.
she has a very good case for
Okay.
unlawful termination.
Now, I'm also, though, it's just like Michelle Giannotli. Is she guilty too
of
for stealing, letting those people dump, and knowing about it?
Sure.
Should she be fired?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. This is why we have CSC fourth degree, because someone's position can be threat enough.
Yeah, this is like a rape position. That's right.
And
yeah.
so I hate to categorize it that way, because I don't mean it that way. I don't mean it in a sexual manner.
No, because the people that are emotionally charged are going to take that the wrong way.
Right, they are.
The snowflakes.
But I'm trying to get the snowflakes to toughen up a little bit and not be snowflakes.
Logic and reason here.
That's right. So what I'm saying is the reason why we came up with the CSC fourth degree in the state of Michigan is because sometimes just because of someone's position of authority is threat enough just because of that position. And so her boss is coming down and dumping for free is threat enough for her that if she's guilty, she's a victim in this.
Yeah, what if she hey, you guys can't be dumping here?
She's in a catch-22.
Yeah, she's in a catch-22.
She can't. She's not real. And this is where the citizens of Scipio should be watching out for their employees, because she's not an employee of Spencer's. She's an employee of the people of Scipio.
Well, the people of Scipio don't know what's going on.
But that's why a Republican government, you have to show up.
Well, also, during this interview, it's 40 minutes long with her, and I noticed that she has a little space heater. It's a shack. It's like an ice shanty shack.
Yeah.
Well, she has no restroom. I've been at their meeting, their last meeting, and they talked about the idea of getting one, that they had to make calls to find out the price on some of this. And this was a couple months ago. This was probably about, I don't know, 60, 70 days ago when this last meeting that I attended. So at the time of the meeting, I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't understand, that she needs a bathroom, right?
Because you hadn't seen the transfer station.
Yeah, I never seen it, right? So I get out to the transfer station, I realize that she has nowhere to go.
She's in a shack.
And she's first off, her husband ran it for a long time, and her husband passed away. God bless her, and God bless him.
She took over.
She took over the position, but she has no restroom. And it's quick to easy say, well, why would she take that job?
Well, maybe out of respect for her husband.
That's right. But she has no restroom. So now instantly what I'm thinking is, first off, I think she's in her late 50s or early 60s or whatever. She's not necessarily a very young woman, but I'm trying to think of like all the situations, like if you're a younger woman, if you're like having your period, for an example, like where would you go use the restroom if you're like we're having issues with that?
Yes.
Guys, it's very easy for us just to go behind a tree and go pee real quick.
That's because we don't menstruate.
Which would be illegal. Right.
Well, that would put you on the sex offenders registry in the state of Michigan.
Right, exactly. But picture this.
But then again, I guess you can get on that list without even doing anything. But.
Right. Picture yeah, exactly. Look at some of the cases, right?
Yeah.
But picture a 60-year-old woman in an ice shanty shack around a couple trash bins. And people coming and going,
at random times.
But
so you don't know when they're going to come.
When I was there was like 20 customers that came and went.
Yeah, so and then there's times when there isn't anybody there for a little bit.
So picture this woman. I want you guys to imagine this because it's not like it's very. I mean, it's sort of secluded, but it's not like. I mean, people can come and go and see easily. So picture this woman running behind a bush, 60-year-old woman, dropping her panties, squatting down, peeing, and then picture a car rolling in. I want you to imagine that.
And how uncomfortable that must be for her.
In picture drip drying, and then she's got to come over, grab someone's punch card without washing her hands.
Because there's no running water there.
There's no running water. So she's got to punch card and touch their stuff. Like, this is absurd.
Yeah, she should never be put in a situation like that.
Now,
that's wrong.
Now, I left with mixed emotions because I'm thinking, like, oh, my God, these people are dumping illegally. And I'm like, and then she's in a bad position because that's like a situation like CS. What is it? CSC4? Is that what they called?
Well, she's in a situation where
she's in a catch-22.
She's being forced to participate in a crime just because it's her bosses that are doing it.
So she don't have a restroom to go. She's been there for a year and a half.
Yeah,
a year and a half.
I can't even imagine.
Listen, so instantly I'm thinking,
well, I have a cup of coffee. I got to hit the can 3 times.
I'm looking at my wallet. See, because I'm not a rich dude, but I'm looking at my wallet to see if I can get her a restroom there, like a porta potty, right? That's what they're talking about getting her. And so I come home, I call porta potties. I found one $80 a month, and they come out and dump it every 2 weeks. And that was the lowest they would come out. They have to come dump every 2 weeks. They can't like wait 3 months.
Well, they have to by state law.
So like, even though they're dumping, they're not dumping much. But the thing is it was $80 a month. Okay, I'm thinking, well, Spencer's rich. You know, by my terms, he's rich.
Yeah.
You know, so
by Trump's terms, he's a chump.
Yeah. Well, you got five board members, and I'm thinking like they couldn't cough up $20 each.
Yeah.
Like $10, $15 each to get her a restroom.
How much do they get paid a month
for the last year and a half?
But how much do they get paid a month?
Yeah, I don't know, but regardless,
they could have taken some of that money and bought her.
That's what I'm
restroom.
saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I couldn't believe they made this 60-year-old woman for the last year and a half sit out in the shack with a propane heater.
Now, of course, what you're going to get is, well, we didn't know because nobody said anything about it.
Oh, I ain't even trying to hear all that.
Well, here's my thing. If I'm working, if I have a construction site going on and I've got 10 guys there and I don't have restrooms there, and I go, well, I didn't know that those guys didn't have one. Doesn't matter. I still have the $10,000 fine to pay.
Well, regardless, like think of morally.
Yeah, it's just wrong.
You know, like even if we go to like the route, like guys, it's easy for guys. That I can accept that. Even though that's wrong too.
Yeah, I can equal should be equal, but
I can accept that.
We understand it's not completely equal. Yes.
Right. So like picture this 60-year-old woman dropping drawers in front of everybody and have to pull them up in front of everybody.
Or she's not necessarily dropping drawers in front of everybody. She thinks she's safe for a minute, drops drawers, and then boom, here's a car.
Okay.
That's got to be stressful on her thinking, can I pee really quick and get my pants up before somebody comes?
How offensive would that be if that was your mother?
I would be greatly.
How about your wife?
I would be upset.
You know, how upset would you be if that was your wife?
I would be upset.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking. Like, what if it was your daughter?
Yes.
You know, like, what kind of respect does that community have for that woman?
Yeah, they're not showing any.
Jesus.
They may say they have respect, but they're not showing any.
That is absurd.
Yeah, it's wrong.
I don't understand that mindset. And what's even sillier is, when was that meeting, John? That was last Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got the porta potty came today.
Yep.
You know, or yesterday.
All of a sudden,
All of a sudden.
oddly, like it came out of the sky. Santa Claus came early.
Here, I was positioning myself to go to the next meeting to shame them all and throw my own money on the table.
And they shamed themselves and did the right thing.
They finally got a porta potty there. I'm like honestly lost for words. I can't believe. So now I got to go check out other transfer stations, right?
Yeah.
Because I got to see what they look like.
Yeah. See if they're doing the same thing.
But what I've learned though is this is against the OSHA standard, anyways. This is against
MIOSHA,
Michigan.
Michigan Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Yeah, so this is they have to have running water there. I didn't know that. And then
hot and cold running water,
right? And so in order to keep the water hot and cold and keep everything right, you got to have actually electricity to have the proper heater.
Although there are companies that, in fact, a business in Coldwater that I do some maintenance for, their main sewer line got stopped up, and it was going to take a while to get in and get that dug out and get it fixed. And so they needed to have bathrooms too, because they had employees there, and there was a lot of women working at that particular job. So there's a company that does have, and of course there's only a couple companies that have them, these porta potties that are in their bathrooms in these little trailers where there's a men's room and a women's room. They're very nice, and they've got hot and cold running water in there and lights, and it's quite nice, but they're very expensive to rent. So there are options.
Well, those are expensive, right?
Yes, they're very expensive.
So in order to operate this transfer station, it's going to require a lot more money.
Right, but here's what I'm saying is you wouldn't have to have a full-time building there. You could have because these trailers were like camper trailers.
That's what I was thinking.
So they have a holding tank and stuff like that, and they could come in. They could hire a septic company come in and dump that every 2 weeks or for no more than what it's being used. You could probably dump it once a month or once every 2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can have water in there. You could hook it up to electric, where there's a small electric heater in there, keeps that warm, so that you've got a small water heater in there that's doing that. You can turn the water heater off during the week and only turn it on Saturday morning when you're going to go in and use it. So there's options that can be done affordably. But instead, we would rather spend money on lawyers for meetings that we can't have, and we'd rather spend money going after our neighbors to take them to court because they've got a couple cars next to their garage. This is what's stupid.
Well, regardless, the transfer station's immoral in the first place.
Yes, it is.
So we're adding compound wrongs on top of it.
Right.
And fixing the other wrongs is not going to fix the big wrong, which is the transfer station's immoral in the first place.
Well, unless the only way the transfer station's not immoral is those that use it pay for it.
Yeah.
Then it's not immoral.
Now, this isn't a favorable position by the majority. I already know that. A lot of people want to
not
use
by
this
the
service
democracy.
cheap.
Yeah, not by the democracy.
But the fact of the matter is, the people that want to use this cheap is stealing from everybody else.
Sure.
And that's really what it comes
down to. And they think
to.
that's okay. But they wouldn't want somebody stealing from them.
That's right. That's really our last topic here. One last thing is thank you for all the views and good comments on the video of Fred Fowler when he was grabbing on me, because we got I think it's over 7,000 views now, which is
wow.
That's
phenomenal for this area.
That's a big for us. We don't have that. Also we've drawn a lot of attention, and we got like more people that are coming to the site, more likes, more shares, something that we've never experienced. This is something new for us.
The Republic only works when people show up.
And I think that video helped open a lot of eyes for people. As far as the voting goes, I know there's voting in like a lot of different places, and I don't know where they're all at because I didn't keep up with everybody. But as far as the Adams Township goes, you got yourself a chance to make a difference. Have a chance to make things proper and to go the right direction and to make your voices be heard. What I think they got a chance to do, John, is something that's different from any other election. I mean, you hear the same lines all the time, like making a change or making a difference or whatever. The thing is this new board
is committed to the Constitution.
Well, several members at least that I know of,
yes.
Right? Like I think Mark, Tim, and Dennis all, and
and again, Randy. I think Randy's committed too.
I think I'm not going to go. I'm not going to. How do I say? I can't pledge for Randy because I don't know Randy as well.
My nephew worked for Randy, and I sort of know Randy through my nephew.
He seems like a great guy, though.
And I think Randy is.
I think he's not opposed to learning. That's for sure.
No, and I don't think he is. I don't think he's arrogant. I think Randy's humble.
Yeah, see,
that's huge.
This new board, or the people that are running, and Tim Martin that's running as a write-in, they all of them have expressed that they want to bring constitutional scholars in. Whether it be you, John, or whether it be someone from the college, or whether it be someone else,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really make a difference.
They want to learn the Constitution. They want to run their township constitutionally.
They've all expressed they want to set the standards for Hillsdale County. Mm-hmm. If you get a constitutional board in Adams Township, they can influence those other townships that are surrounding.
Other townships that will have constitutional boards, and then we will have a county board eventually that will be constitutional. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
At least before we pass away, right?
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Because then at least I can say to my kids and my grandkids that I
made a difference.
I kept this republic.
Yeah, it was your
for
duty anyways.
My posterity, for you.
Yeah, and can you imagine if that influence got to the city of Hillsdale and they turned around and used that on the so-called Constitutional College?
Oh, yes.
Can you imagine? How amazing would that be?
It would be
holding that college
amazing.
to their feet to the fire.
That's right. And, that college claims to be a constitutional college, but yet some of the people that are the most unconstitutional are the people closest around the college, at the foot of the college, within government, within Hillsdale.
We always say they don't practice what they preach.
Yeah, they don't. And this is the problem. We say this, and you've got this even as one of the quotes on our logo, and that is that, Benjamin Franklin said when he came out of the Constitutional Convention, a woman walked up to him and she said, "So, Mr. Franklin, what have you given us?" And he said, "Madam, you have a republic if you can keep it." And, we say that, and sometimes that gets lost in the ambiance of patriotism.
For us, because not everybody hears that outside of the patriot movement.
Right, but
or the constitutional
but think
movement.
of what that really means. We have a republic. This republic doesn't operate on its own.
He obviously knew.
Yes, a republic, people have to show up. People have to hold their government to, think about it, the Constitution was the only law that's been passed by the people.
We're the only country in the world that has the freedom that we have.
Yes.
Only country.
Now, that doesn't mean that we haven't lost a lot.
It requires a lot of responsibility.
That's right. When much is given, much is required and
We're
expected.
the only country that has the gun laws that we have. We're the only country that has the First Amendment right the way we have it.
Right. And we've lost a lot of those. Don't get me wrong. We've lost a lot.
Particularly through 9/11.
But we still have a lot. And if we don't want to lose more, we need to keep and restore that republic.
So, I mean, when I say kudos to people like Dennis or Tim or Mark, really, I'm just patting them on the back to try to make them feel good. It's their duty just like it is ours.
Sure, but you know what? I don't have to say good day to you, but I'm going to say good day.
Right.
Because it's the polite thing to do.
Right.
Or
the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do. It's the polite thing to do as well. So, yes, even though it is their duty, there's nothing wrong with telling people, hey, good job, even when it is their duty.
So, as far as your voting go, May 8th is when the voting is. I hope everybody gets out and vote and
keep your republic.
Yeah, try to keep the republic as much as possible. Now I know a lot of those other positions are running uncontested, or I don't want to say it's a waste of vote or anything of that, because it's not. I understand your guys' feelings. Just I feel the same exact way. Sometimes voting for lesser of two evils or that type of feeling. Some of these positions I think that are running uncontested probably aren't, like in my county level. I think for John Burko walking away and who's taking his position, I don't think he's constitutionally sound and conservative.
No, not even close.
Not
even close. John Burko wasn't either.
Yeah, Tim Shaw is the gentleman.
But John Burko wasn't either. He had
exactly.
no clue about the Constitution.
John Burko is not a conservative by any means.
No.
I mean, he might be conservative in his own life, in his own business, but not when he came to the government. And so I see that a lot.
He's a rhino.
I see that when people have businesses, when they're running for political positions, in their business, hell, they're cutting the staff if it's dead.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the people's money, we're going to hire more police.
I've
more
even
stuff.
heard people go, well, this is going to be good for my business.
Yeah.
Well, Ding, 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 bells. We got bells and whistles.
Yeah, so
we got bells and whistles.
So I mean, Tim Shaw is running uncontested. I believe he's running uncontested.
Well, he's not running uncontested that we know of. However, he might as well, because you've got John.
No, he is.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's running uncontested.
And I think the reason why he's running uncontested is because a lot of people know that when you've got a sitting board member that's going to.
Well, let's
that's going to push. I mean, let's face facts.
We're wrapping up our show, but let's explain to the viewers what it is. John Burka owns restaurant, and he owns Cherry Creek Winery. He owns the Grand River Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the statistics of people serving alcohol in your community and running for political position, it's like a 99% win.
Yeah. So statistically,
you know everybody in the community.
Yep.
You're serving them alcohol.
Statistically, whoever he supports has the greatest chance of winning. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody shouldn't run. See, I had somebody tell me when I ran for sheriff a second time that I was stupid for doing so because it would look ridiculous because I'd already run and lost once. And I said, you know what? It doesn't matter. It matters whether we have a contested race.
I hope she listens to this show.
I hope so too. But it's got to be a contested race. And this came from somebody who ran uncontested. Okay, well, anybody can win an uncontested race, but an uncontested race does not bring out the best people. See, think about the Olympics. Let's say we have 5 people that are going to run the 400 meter, but we don't run all 5 of them at the same time. We run each of them individually. How good do you think the times would be?
Not good.
They're not going to be good. Even though we're going to have a winner because somebody's going to have the best time.
Yeah, they're not competitive.
It's not competing. You put all 5 of them on the track, and I'll guarantee you each and every one of the 5 individually will have a better time.
Listen,
because they're competing.
In front of girls, I could do 6 pull-ups. If with girls aren't there, I can do like 2 or 3. Just
because you'll make yourself do the other 4.
Yeah. With people there, I could bench over 260. When people aren't there, man, I can't. It's hard putting up 200.
Yeah. So it has to be a competition. This is a free market economy. Our free market economy is based on competition. This is what brings us goods and services cheaper with better quality. It's the competition. And so we need to do the same thing within our elected positions. If we don't have competition, so my thing is, I don't care. Even if I'm going to lose, I will run against that other person just so that everybody has to run faster. Everyone has to run harder.
Yeah, at least put
everyone
some fire
has
to
to
the feet,
do
right?
the best that they can do.
Some fire to the feet.
That's right.
Yeah, I wish I had capabilities of doing this and running for that position. Can't do both.
No, you can't. You got to make the decision where you can do
So I chose to
have
do
the best
this.
impact.
Also, for me being an ex-con, it's tough for me to take on a political position, not because I'm going to lose, because I don't want to put that burden on other people to trust me in that nature.
And the other thing is, you don't want to put. In that position, you're really putting yourself out there for scrutiny.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried about the scrutiny because I'm going to act moral every time.
Right, but the scrutiny doesn't just fall on you. The scrutiny falls on your family and anyone that you've had any connections with.
Or how about the rest of the board members?
Yeah.
Or even the people of the community.
That's right.
Sometimes
that's not fair.
I know that's like giving an excuse for not running. The thing of the matter is, I want to do what I'm doing now.
Well, not only that, here's the thing. You're active.
Right.
You're showing up.
Yeah.
You're showing up.
Sometimes. Well, no, I don't show up in Somerset.
It doesn't matter. You still show up.
You show up
somewhere, right? You and I both. We show up somewhere.
I tried to get a couple people over there in Somerset to run. I wish we were able to get some people to run against Tim Shaw because nothing personal against Tim Shaw. Where I draw issues a lot of times is, first off, when people label themselves conservative and they're not.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Like he runs that Addison fire. He's the fire chief of Addison Fire Department. They spend gobs of money. Unlimited. They spent $300,000 on stretchers for their
without blinking an eye.
Yeah, without 2 of them. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. I was told that's a lot of money, man. That's crazy money.
Yeah.
They opened up 3 or 4 fire stations, and they're just outfitted heavily. There's a lot of corruption on their board. I'm just, and then now he's going to run as a county commissioner.
Yeah, he has a problem understanding ethics. He puts himself in ethical situations, and then he claims that it's not ethical.
Are you supposed to run political positions for all your life? Are you supposed to be in political positions all your life?
Let me again reiterate what Franklin said. A man should leave his business and go serve a duty unto the people. No.
Right.
Political position.
I mean,
and if you think about it, before Woodrow Wilson in the progressive ideology, people didn't spend careers in politics.
Yeah, I mean, like you got Fred Fowler been on the township supervisor for 14 years. You got
That's too long.
Spencer being on for over 25
That's
years.
way too long.
You know, Branson are 20-something years.
You-
You got a lot of these people been on these boards.
Patricia said she's been there 41. That's way too long.
I don't know if she's been on the board, but she's been actively politically.
Well, she said she's been there 41 years. That's 20 years too long.
I mean, like in my community, someone that's more close to my age, Michelle Graham. She's on the fire board. She's on the school board. She's on Lake Leanne Association. She's our treasurer. You know, like.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Oh my
Don't
God.
get me wrong. Kudos. She's showing up. She's showing up so many places, it's not even funny. But the problem is, you got to be careful. When you're showing up that many places, is there a conflict of interest? You got to be very, very, very careful. It's not whether you did change the outcome of something. It's whether the appearance was that you had the ability to or that you could have. That's the ethical question.
You know,
So kudos to her for showing up,
yes,
but you got to be careful.
Yes, it's the conflict of interest. What if Lake Leanne Association wants Somerset to police their community? Well, she's their treasurer. So, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's a conflict of interest.
Okay, so now, and like I say, kudos for her to showing up, but you got to be careful.
We contract with the Addison Fire Department.
Yeah, that's
in
not.
Somerset.
That's
You know,
that-
like, and now
yeah.
he's going to be county commissioner.
yeah.
You know, like these are the things that we're running into that, in my opinion, they're red flags. I'm not saying they're bad people by any means.
No. But then again, Madison said that if men were angels, we wouldn't need government, and if men were governed by angels, we wouldn't need a constitution. So this is exactly what he's talking about.
I mean, I feel like, only a handful of people get it.
yeah.
You know,
And some that do get it don't care, and that's what's even more disheartening.
yeah, or justify it.
Yeah,
One or the other.
that's disheartening. It's
So,
just
well, I think we talked a lot, man.
we talked way too long.
We're on 2 hours and
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah,
almost.
so I figured we were probably close to 3 hours because we haven't done this in a while. So we're like a bunch of
I don't mind.
Girl Scouts
I don't
here
care.
talking around the campfire.
I don't care how long it takes. We put it
that's
out
true.
there.
That's
you know.
true.
So,
Well, but everybody tells us you need to do a 10-second video for everything, so because people don't have the attention span.
Well, they don't listen to our show then.
Well, then they got ADHD.
Yeah. Well, it's time to get in the world of podcasts, because those other guys, they're running 4-hour shows and 5-hour shows. I mean, Joe Rogan's running huge time shows.
Yeah,
you know?
people listen to him.
Not only do they run those long podcast shows, they also do side stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like additional content.
Yeah.
So, like, they're putting out so much content, it's ridiculous.
But then again, they have interesting people. They're not listening to us.
yeah, no doubt. All right, everybody. God bless everybody. I hope to see you guys out on May 8th. Thank you.
Vote and read your Constitution.